You know the vibes. www.daymcomic.com, DAYMCOMIC.com. Click the link below. Order your comic books right now. They're dropping in a few months. Don't be without one.
What's going on, guys? Antonio here. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up for me, and let's get into it. All right, so Joe Budden dropped episode 485 of his podcast. 15 episodes to go, and he'll be at 500 episodes, which is tremendous. But the episode's called Y'all Must Be New Here. It's on his YouTube channel, and it's on a couple of, I know it's on SoundCloud and a couple of parts. He refuses, and he actually mentioned this during this episode, he refuses to load his content onto Spotify. The episodes of the Joe Budden podcast that occurred, what he had, like, I think it was a 3-year deal with Spotify. So all the episodes that he did when he was under contract to Spotify are on Spotify, but the new episodes since that contract lapsed, he said he refuses to put episode. And I like listening to podcasts on Spotify. It's very browser friendly. So that's I always have to listen. You either have to listen to his Patreon. He's got a Patreon subscription, or you have to find another streaming service to. I know he's on Apple and stuff like that. But he was trending on Twitter. He's been trending for the last few hours because apparently during the episode, he announced that he liked both boys and girls. And he even said, hey, put that out there. I like boys and girls. But there is context to everything. And there were a lot of people that took that one little clip, that little soundbite, and it was all over Twitter and Instagram. It was showing everywhere. And then I start seeing news organizations saying that Joe Budden announced that he was, in fact, bisexual. I listened to the podcast. I don't think Joe Budden was saying he was bisexual. This is just from what I heard when he got to the point where he was like, hey, I like boys and girls, put that out there. He was talking about, I made the video last week about 50 Cent bringing the baby out at Rolling Loud up in New York, right? Well, now they've come out and announced that the baby has a 16-city tour that's going to be sponsored by Rolling Loud. Now, remember, when the baby got in trouble over the summer, he was performing in Miami at Rolling Loud. So he was on Rolling Loud Miami. He said the comments that he said. I'm not going to, because like I said, he that's a wild boy. He said some crazy stuff, right? I understand why people were offended. If you were or you weren't, whatever. I'm not here to defend that. I understand why he got in trouble. And as I said in the previous video, one of the biggest mistakes he made was he decided to stand on it. He was like, I'm not apologizing, blah, 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 blah. Bam. Okay. So now you flash forward. The performance at Rolling Loud has happened with, 50 Cent brings him out. He performs. And then Rolling Loud announces that, hey, we love the baby again. 16-city tour. This is what Joe Budden was talking about. And the fact that news organizations said that before the baby was allowed to come out and perform at Rolling Loud, that the people at Rolling Loud and the baby, they met with LGBTQ organization. What was it called? I can't remember the name of the organization. But they met with this LGBTQ organization, and the woman, her name's Gwendolyn something. She's the CEO of this group. And she felt the baby was sincere in his apology. And so she decided, hey, we think the baby is sincere when he apologized for the things that he said, the hurtful comments. We're not going to give you any flack if the baby performs at Rolling Loud again. And all of a sudden he comes out, with 50 Cent. And then they announced that they're going to sponsor a 16-city tour for him. So, I mean, he'll get at least $1 million a show on that. So I'm not hating. That's good for him, right? He's going to make at least $16+ million. That's not a bad thing. But Joe Budden and his two co-hosts, Ice and Ish, They said some real stuff. A lot of the stuff that they were talking about that went over a lot of people's head. They stopped at the point, because when I was watching the clip, they were talking about the fact that the baby was pretty much brought to heel. That he was kind of made. What was the guy? The guy Ish or Ice? It's Ice and Ish. I can't never tell which one is which. And when he had Rory and Maul as the co-host, I knew which one was Rory, I knew which one was Maul. But Ice and Ish, I know the names, but I don't know. If you put them in a lineup, I can't tell you which one is which. But they're great on the show, so I'm not trying to disrespect those two brothers. I think his two replacement co-hosts are just as good as Rory and Maul. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but Ice and Ish are both very good. They have a nice chemistry with Joe. I like them. They're funny. They're good, but they just basically went into the whole cancel culture thing and the fact that the baby pretty much had to, go begging on his knees, and this organization has so much control over his life, they were able to determine whether he's able to provide for his children or not. That's a pretty serious situation right there. It's like, wow, they made this dude apologize. They had to like make the shot call on whether he could perform or not. Because if they had said no, then he wouldn't been able to perform. So that, I thought that was interesting. But so Joe Budden was talking about that, and that's when the whole "I like boys and girls" comment came. He was like, "What could I do or say to get them to change their mind?" He was like, "I like boys and girls. Put that out there." And then he went into the whole rant about, and I mean, it's like they talked about it for about 20 minutes. I thought the conversation, that whole part about the baby and Rolling Loud and the tour and all that was some serious. I thought that was just amazing content. That was incredible. I thought they were saying some really deep stuff, talking about the fact that if the artists were smart, they would all pool together and tell Rolling Loud to kick rocks, that they don't actually need them. They could start their own thing. And instead, Rolling Loud has been put into a position where they cancel, because the whole thing is, which was also pointed out on this broadcast, Rolling Loud canceled the baby after his comments. So when he said his stuff during the summer, they canceled him. And then, after he done, met with all these different groups and apologized again and put out another statement, then they bring him out. Because that's one thing I mentioned in the previous video I did when 50 Cent brought him out. Those people love when they brought him out, the fans went crazy. And, so that's why I'm sitting there going, man, if he can't tour, that's a problem. Well, like I said, they brought him to heel, and now they're sponsoring his concert. I thought that was very interesting. Joe said a lot of real stuff, just like, but I think it's part of the problem that we have right now with soundbite culture. I was watching White Men Can't Jump the other day, Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. I love that movie. That's one of my favorites. I remember going to the theater and watching that when that dropped. But I remember there was a scene early in the movie when Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes first meet, right? And they were sitting in the car arguing. Remember, he had the tape player in his car, and Woody Harrelson was talking about, he listens to Jimi Hendrix. And Wesley Snipes says, "You listen to Jimi Hendrix, but you can't hear Jimi Hendrix." And that went over a lot of people's head. A lot of people didn't get that. But that's where I'm saying, where the clip, where these news organizations are like, oh, Joe Budden just said he's bisexual. If you listen to the full clip, it wasn't about that. It was about what happened to the baby. And that's why I was like, wow, this whole thing. I mean, Joe Budden's ex-girlfriend came out and was like, no, he ain't bisexual. I would have known. She's coming out. People are putting out statements. And it's so funny. You can go on to what's her name? To Jerry. You go on her Twitter, and she's talking about guys are DMing her and all this kind of crazy stuff. And I was like, they were together for what, 2 years, 3 years. I know he proposed to her on Love and Hip Hop. That was weird, but like I said, they were together, and she was like, he's not. He has some domestic issues, that I think he put the Beats by Dre on her. But I know he got into some domestic issues that were, had to go to court for all that kind of stuff. But it was, that's another situation. But, like I said, she's out there saying that, he's not. DJ Academics was, of course, his co-host on Everyday Struggle back in 2017. He was on Twitch, and he was talking about it, and he was like, Joe Budden's trolling y'all, man. He's like, Joe's not really bisexual. He's like, you listen to the whole thing. And I was like, I listened to the whole thing by myself without anybody going out there. And they were so they're so hankering for that spicy comment that they heard just that one little sentence and they didn't listen to the whole conversation. If you listen to the whole conversation, I think your mind would be changed. But I mean, it is what it is at this point. I just thought that was funny because there are some people I've seen on Twitter that actually are in the same mindset as me, where they heard the whole conversation they didn't just stop at the I like boys and girls, put that out there, boom, and then just it just went. They stopped listening at that point. There's a Yahoo reporter, blogger. He works for Yahoo. I don't even know if they call them reporters anymore because a lot of these new reporters are literally, I'm talking like on Hot New Hip Hop or Variety or Hollywood Reporter, Deadline. They're not actually credentialed reporters. They are literally bloggers, and they take, they just write blog posts, and that's the news clip. Those are the things that people share. They're not actual. They don't go to school for journalism or anything. A lot of the new reporters are literally just social media people. They blog, they vlog, they make YouTube videos, whatever it is. They're not actually credentialed reporters. And now, if you just, hell, I could become a reporter just from making YouTube videos. And I don't have any press credentials or anything like that. So that's what I'm talking about. And like I said, no disrespect to this, like I said, Taylor Henderson. I read his article on Yahoo, and he mentioned that people think Joe Budden announced he was bisexual, but he's not. And he kind of broke more of the context down of the conversation. He listened to the whole conversation as I did. Also, Taylor announced that he was, of course, LBGTQ in the column, which I was like, okay, thank you for sharing. I didn't understand why he put that out. Like, 'cause I was just wanting to get the information. I don't care who he's sleeping with. It doesn't make any difference to me. I thought, but he announced I guess he was just sharing that he was, he was LBGTQ. So I was like, okay, man. Thanks, man. Thanks, bro. All right. But Joe Budden, like I said, I listened to the thing. Podcast itself, the episode was incredible. I think Joe Budden, I don't care what genre of podcast you listen to, he's one of the top 5 podcasters, period. I put him in Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's an amazing podcaster. But yeah, I think Joe Budden would definitely be number 2, number 3 up there. I think his podcast is incredibly strong, which is why it's about to hit 500 episodes. That's an incredible achievement. And but man, like I said, go listen to it. It's episode 485. Like I said, you can go on the Joe Budden YouTube channel or go on Apple. Oh, and it's on Google. I should have mentioned that. I know he always mentions that it's on Google as well. So if you have, if you're an Android person, you can listen on Google. If you use iPhone, then you can go on Apple. So he's got both of those platforms covered. It's also on SoundCloud, and he's got Patreon as well. And like I said, the YouTube. So you can, like I said, 485. Y'all must be new here. Just to hear the whole conversation about why these artists won't pull together and shut stuff like this down. He mentioned Dave Chappelle, which I thought was, he was talking about Dave Chappelle's about the only one with the courage to stand up to these guys and all this. I thought that was dope. I thought, like I said, the whole conversation was really interesting. But check it out. So I am saying again, I listened to it. Joe Budden did say that he liked boys and girls on the thing, but I don't think he was coming out. Just from hearing what he's saying. And you can tell if you look on Joe Budden's Twitter now, he's kind of laughing at how people are running with the narrative. It's hilarious. So, but if you listen to it or if you're planning on listening to it, I would love to chop it up with you. Get in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. I'm out. PlaceTheBets.com, guys. Are you tired of crapping out on sites like Fanduel and Draftkings? Go to PlaceTheBets.com. Set your fantasy lineup. Baseball, football, basketball, hockey. They got them all. They'll set your lineup. 30 days is only $1. You can go. You can sign up right now. That 30 days is only $1. PlaceTheBets.com and get that Skrilla. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and please check out my podcast at anchor.fm/AkariPress, or just type in Akari Press on your favorite streaming platform today.